What's up, Backgammon fans? I'm Marc Olsen from BackgammonGalaxy.com. In today's podcast, we have a special guest, a very special guest. He might be the special one because you have so many domains in this world where you can acquire skill, but it's very rare that you get to sit and talk with somebody who's the best, the number one human on the planet, and that's what we have with us here today. He has basically achieved everything there is to achieve in backgammon. He's won the world championship. He has been the number one voted backgammon giant on the Giants of Backgammon list multiple times. He's the only Super Grandmaster in the BMAP Federation, and he's the current and reigning UBC Champion of Backgammon. So, you might have guessed it. Today's guest is Masayuki Mochizuki. Very excited. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to pick his brain on all kinds of topics, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it. But before we jump in to the conversation, I have a couple of ads here that I need to run through you guys. First one, the UBC Marbella 2021. We have finally found a location, a venue. It's going to be on Finca Naundrup in Marbella, Spain. It's going to be from the 15th to the 21st of August. We have our own venue. We already have 17 Grandmasters signed up for the tournament, so that's pretty exciting. And alongside with the UBC, we also have the Marbella Galaxy Tournament, which is like a casual tournament for the non-UBC participants. So if you want to enjoy a full week of backgammon in the sun, you should book your tickets, and it's very cheap venue, and you get 3 meals a day and everything. Check it out. Go to the newsletter, and we're also going to put the link below to the PDF invitation. Furthermore, we've got this event in Marbella the 2 days before the UBC starts. I am honored to host this masterclass seminar alongside with Super Grandmaster Mochi. It's going to be a 2-day seminar, a masterclass. Basically, it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime learning experience, 8 hours a day for 2 days. I mean, what more could you ask for? And we're probably going to do some Zoom tickets as well, some digital attendance, just because there are a lot of people who can't really travel to Europe at this time. So we're probably going to sell some tickets online as well. So if you're interested, get in touch with our email, the Backgammon Galaxy email. Okay. Let's get to it. Without further ado, Mochi, welcome to the Backgammon Galaxy podcast.
Hello, Marc. Thank you for having me today. I'm very honored to be here. And thank you for the kind words about me. I'm not that good, but I do my best.
Well, okay, so why do you say that?
I don't know. I never think that I'm like, hey, I'm the best player in the world, and I never think about that. I'm just a, player who loves backgammon and try to be better than yesterday. That's it.
So that's basically your secret. You're just comparing yourself to yourself yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much. Backgammon is very interesting. Every day I make a mistake. Every day something new came up, and I try to find reasons, and it's endless learning process, basically, I think.
It is truly endless. I'm kind of like with you there. It's I'm also just trying to learn every day, and it seems to be endless. But I mean, it is fair to say from objective measurements that you are currently the number one backgammon player in the world, and some would even argue by quite a great distance down to the rest of the field. I mean, how do you become this good? Like, what is the process?
It's a very frequently asked question, but I don't know the correct answer. I have done many things in the past to be a better player. I don't know what is the most effective way for me. I read many books. I play charade with stronger players. When in the beginning, when I started play backgammon. When I started play backgammon when I was 19 years old, actually I was not started earlier, so it's kind of late, Back then there's no I mean, there was an internet, but very limited, of course, not many websites. And only software available was Jellyfish. And it's in a floppy disk, by the way. Can you believe it? Anyway, so back then, I have to do a lot of things by hand. I have to load it out by myself to see what's going on. And of course, there's no picture. Like if you have interesting position, you have to write it down. Nowadays you can just take a picture and put it in the Extreme Gammon on the mobile. So easy. But back then I have to. But actually, one of the things that the current players, the new players, didn't do is that I have a lot of experience doing hand rolling out, plus a lot of experience in street money game. That's maybe one of the reasons that I have a lot of experience on that field that might not have other players. I don't know.
Did it?
Sorry. Well, the most important thing is that you have to use your brain, and you have to find a reason, and you have to be obsessed. And I'm very obsessed to find the truth in this game. For example, I didn't mind to play and study 10 hours a day. Back then, of course, and I still don't mind try to find a best play in certain position. I can spend a lot of time on it. I can ask my friends. I can use computer. I can, I'm ready to do whatever it takes me to do next step. So, for example, I don't have any math background. Sorry, there's some noise over there. I don't have any math background. So after I started Backgammon seriously, I read a lot of math books because I wanted to run statistics and the probability and the odds and everything. I just do everything I want to do, I don't really know what was the most effective way.
Did you have any obsessions before Backgammon? Is this kind of something in your personality that all of a sudden Backgammon, it filled out this thing that you kind of wanted to be obsessed, or did the obsession come from the game? Where did it come from?
Yes, I used to play shogi. Shogi is Japanese chess, quite popular. Many players and professionals play shogi. And I played a lot in high school. I was okay, but I was really not very strong player. But when you play shogi or chess, you used to spend a lot of time on move and think, and that's no problem, right? So that was my background.
Yeah, okay. So you did have some sort of gaming or competitive gaming experience from shogi.
Right.
Why was it lack of talent, or did you just find Backgammon more fascinating? What made you shift from shogi to Backgammon?
From looking back from now, I did not know how to, I played every day, but I did not study in a proper way. I did not know what's the proper way to study. But now, of course, after 20 years of Backgammon experience, if I started to play shogi, if I go to the time machine and come back to the high school days, I could be a better player. But I just did not know. I wasn't smart enough, of course.
I understand.
And I see the limit in shogi, so that's why I switched from shogi to Backgammon. And also, to be honest, Backgammon, you can make money actually if you could play for money. And when you are 19 years old, if you make $100 a day, that's a big money, right? You're very happy.
Yes.
So that part was the reason I was obsessed to be a better player when I was very young.
That's fascinating. I had the same thing. It was also, I started playing Backgammon in 2005 or 6, I think. And you had the Play 6.5 site back then where you could play for real stake, and that was my motivation as well. I was grinding the same, like €100 a day, and I was just thrilled and excited about the game, and I didn't like to make mistakes when you had money at stake. So that was a great motivation for me as well.
Yeah.
What
I mean, through playing money game, you run a lot. Of course, you run basic skill set, but also you have to learn how to manage your emotion, right? The psychological aspects is very important in your money game. Well, also when you play street backgammon, I stayed in New York for a month or two, play in Bryant Park, play against real human with no computer, no analysis or whatever. So you are not sure that you play good or he plays good, which is better. So you have to figure out yourself, right? If you play a right opponent or you're playing against a stronger opponent. That was a lot of it's not easy. Nowadays, if you play 6-5, you have a match, so instantly you play good or bad. He plays good or bad. So lots of psychological aspects in the street backgammon.
That's right. Do you still get to play this kind of street backgammon, or has times changed?
Nah, I mean, street backgammon means you play with a complete stranger, right? And it's not gonna happen nowadays because
you got too
when
famous.
I play a money game, usually they know me and I know you, so money is guaranteed. I mean, the payment is guaranteed. In street backgammon, you don't know because he may not pay. So that's another factor.
So you actually managed to make backgammon your profession for basically 2 decades. That's not an easy thing to do because it's difficult to find money games, it's difficult to win tournaments and all that stuff. So how do you balance this life, and how do you actually make it work to be a professional backgammon player?
Yeah. One of the hardest things in professional backgammon career is that there is no clear path, and I'm really sad about this. So when I started to play backgammon, there was no. So in those 20 years, there are several ways to make money and make living. So I started from a street backgammon. Then internet comes, right, where you could play real money for Press 65, True Money games, Gammon Empire. It's the same thing, and Party Gammon games. That was like a great era. That you can just log in, and sometimes you make $800, $1,000 a day easy. Like then that time is over. Then I switched to like almost like a lecturer, or I'm doing a lot of seminar. I was invited by a tournament director to go to a big tournament. I hold a seminar. I get paid, and it's now tournament itself is almost like a free roll. I don't need to pay a lot of expenses to be a tournament. So I could make money from doing a seminar, and I could make money from winning a tournament, besides some side actions here and there. Nowadays, it's getting easier because my name became a little bit more popular. So people know me, and people wants to play me, or people wants to have lesson from me. So it's getting easier and easier. But I'm very fortunate, So my next goal is to build a career path for younger players. If they want to be a professional player, there must be a career path to make a living, so that they don't need to worry about it. They just focus on be a better player. You know what I mean? That was very important. That is very important.
Yeah, that's the luxury, for instance, for the chess players. There is a clear path. If you just become a grandmaster in chess or top 100, you can make a living simply just by go play the tournament circuit, win some prize money, get hotel fee paid, all that stuff. Yeah, we don't have it. I'm gonna help you, Mochi. Let's see if we can build something like this. What about this is an unrelated, not technical question, but you have 3 kids and you have a wife. how do you balance your family life and being a professional backgammon player who travels the world, basically?
Oh, you have to ask my wife how she managed to take care of 3 kids without me. For example, right now I'm in Santa Monica, Los Angeles. I'm staying in Fairmont Hotel. They have Fairmont Hotel in Santa Monica. It's a very nice resort. But while I'm being here, my wife has to take care of 3 kids. So I asked the question to her. But I really enjoyed having a kid. I'm very, very fortunate that I met my wife through backgammon. She also plays backgammon. She understands me. She understands what the backgammon is. And she also has a job. And so it's also nice that if your wife has a good job, then you can afford to lose. And as a backgammon player, there's up and down, obviously. Sometimes it's up, down, can take 3 months. You could keep losing money for 3 months. It's not so unnatural. So I have some backup. Then luckily I won the world championship, so that her parents also didn't understand that, okay, this guy do the right thing probably. So we got married, then we have 3 kids. It's really nice. I mean, so when I'm not traveling, I'm at home. I try to be a good father. I go to a kindergarten or a school with my son and the kids, and I deliver them. I bring them back, and I play with them at the park. And I try to be a good father, so that they will not forget me when I'm abroad.
That's good. That's pretty impressive. So not only top backgammon player, but you managed to find that balance. We have many examples of great players from the past who didn't really, they were not able to find that balance. For instance, the legendary and unfortunately late Paul Magriel, which I think is a clear example of the opposite, a brilliant mind, but he never really had balance in his life. It was just like going out, playing money games and partying, basically until he left this planet. So yeah.
Well, he has a son.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's just my impression that he didn't really have balance, to be honest. But yeah, I didn't know.
Probably not. I don't know. I don't really know. But...
Did you know Paul Magriel personally?
Yeah, sure.
How was he like?
He was just a genius. It's like a genius,
Okay.
Very, very. His behavior looks strange sometimes, like he's wearing 2 watches, a right hand and left hand, right? Well, he's just a genius. And he loves the backgammon. He loves the game for sure. I think he doesn't care about money. Of course, he needs money, but or he cares. He is just loves the games, not only backgammon, but he loves poker, and he loves many other games as well. It's just like a big child,
Yeah.
In a good way, of course.
Yeah. Doing what he loved to do.
Excuse me?
Yeah, just doing what he loved to do, basically, which was just to play games. Yeah, I have one good experience with him. So I was traveling to Argentina. It was 2008, before I won World Championship, okay? So not many people knew that I'm a strong player, but Paul Magriel knew that I'm a strong player. So I visited a club in Argentina, and it's a poker and backgammon club. And I played one guy, his name is Fernando. He is a big money player, and we played money game, like 200 a point. Then Paul Magriel happened to be there, all right? And all of a sudden, he asked me if it's okay to record the match. It's a money game, by the way. And he started recording by hand. And I was like, wow, Paul Magriel wants to transcribe my match by hand, but he doesn't care.
his name was much, much bigger than myself at that time, for 2008. But he just, was curious about my level and Fernandez's level, and he just want to, study the game. That's kind of personality he has.
That's interesting. That's a great story. Yeah, okay. Very, very telling for his personality. What about, now that we're talking about legends, let me ask you about another great legend, Falafel. What was your relationship to Falafel, who also unfortunately passed away last year?
Yeah, well, I hung out with Falafel more than my wife, basically. So I know him a lot. We travel together. We share the room sometimes. We team up together. It means that we share the percentage, right? Like if I win the prize money in the tournament, I pay 10%. If he with the prize money, he gives them 10%. So we switch some share. And he was another example of genius, kind of. He loves the game, and he could see the right answer like immediately. He doesn't need to think. He doesn't do a reference position. He doesn't do a calculation or anything. I think he plays a lot, and his memory, his outstanding memory, could remember the thing so that he can just automatically draw the conclusion. Then if I ask the reason why you make this move, then he is trying to, make up some reasoning. But I think he kind of knew the right play, and then he tried to find a reason for it. So his reasoning is sometimes off. It doesn't make sense. But many complicated position, he found right play immediately. It was, and he was a very nice guy. I love him as a human being. He believed love. Actually, he believed true love. He believed world peace. He wanted to work on it. He wanted to fix the situation in Middle East. As a Jewish, of course, many things. Is such a beautiful human being.
Amazing. I also had the luck of meeting Falafel and spending a lot of time with him. Very special guy and genius backgammon player. I love the way that you explain this way when you ask him about a position that he doesn't analyze it first and then knows the answer. He knows the answer and then he's trying to backwards reverse it to figure out what to tell this guy. Why is this the best move? Yeah, I remember playing, one of the times that I played against him was in a doubles match, and I was playing with Thomas Christensen, another grandmaster, one of the best in the world as well, from Denmark, and we were playing against Falafel, and I don't remember who his partner was. It could have been Bob Wachtel, but I'm not quite sure. And we made side bets while we were playing, and we had 6 side bets, me and Thomas, and we could discuss it. It was like me and Thomas versus Falafel, and he beat us in 6 out of 6 prop bets on the match.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, damn, he was good. He was really, really good.
But he never studies opening roll. He never, try to remember reference positions. So nowadays, if Falafel is still there, I don't think he could become a best player. Nowadays, you have to do those kind of things. But as a junior, gut feeling player, he must be the best player. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's a good segue into something else I wanted to talk to you about, Mochi. Maybe like I have this way of seeing backgammon. Like there's multiple parts of the game that you have to master in order to play well. And I think what Falafel was mastering well, he was mastering the pattern recognition side of it, which is like your intuitive side. But there's also the computational side to the game, where like you have to study reference positions, for instance. You have to be able to count dice numbers and see all the tactics, all the different dice probabilities around the board. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how do you see the game? What kind of skills does it take to become a world-class player, and how do you improve those skills?
Okay. So there are multiple things you have to study in this game, right? You gotta study first row, opening row, second row, of course, and the third row. Maybe very few people or none of them remember all the third row positions, but you have to have a good understanding of third row positions. And then you are able to calculate much winning chance thing, like match equity calculation. You should be able to do that. And I personally remember a lot of reference positions. I think I remember kind of between 150 to 200 reference positions, so that you could compare the actual position to one of the reference positions, so that you could conclude a reasonable decision. Which you have to do that. And also pattern recognition is very strong over there. What else? So Backgammon asks you to do a lot of study. Not just being smart is not enough. It's very, very nice to be smart. Very nice to find the right reasoning and find a logical way to solve the problem. But it's not enough. You gotta remember some reference position. Otherwise, you cannot figure out every position. Some position is completely crazy. There are many crazy backend positions. And also you gotta study backend separately, because backgammon is very different from the normal backgammon. And study backgammon means that you have to play it. You have to play from starting position, and you have to play against real good players. That's the only way to run backgammon. I don't know what can I say. That's my take.
Okay, it was also a very open-ended question. Yeah, but I think that I like the way you explain it. Like, there's so many different skills that you have to acquire, and just being smart is not enough. Maybe that's a good quick summary of that big question.
Okay, so for example, I also remember the ending position. So let's say you have 3 checkers. You have 3 remaining checkers on the board in the very ending payoff, yeah? And or 4 checkers are remaining in the payoff. I remember most of odds are bearing off in 2 rows. So for example, if you have checker on 6 and 5 and 4, you have 50% chance to take them off within 2 rows. It could be in 1 row, or it could be 2 rows. For example, if you have 6 and 1 checker on 6, 1 checker on 5 and 4 and 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, then you have 25% odds to take off in 2 rows. So this kind of thing you can't just figure out, By knowing that, you could calculate many backend positions. But if you don't know those numbers, it's just impossible unless you're like super human computer.
Yeah.
And which I'm not. So.
That's a great example. So you have like 150 of these kinds of reference positions that helps you over the board.
Well, it's not. The 150 reference position is something else. It's more like normal, holding, priming, backgammon, and stuff like that. This is a bit of something else.
Yes, for sure. Very nice. And I have the XG board here. So while you were explaining it, I was showing the viewers setting up the positions on the board. So that was a nice. I didn't know about these ones. That's awesome. That's great reference positions. I'm gonna use it. Okay. So another thing I wanted to talk to you about, Mochi, was we had the biggest online Backgammon event basically in January when we broadcasted the Ultimate Backgammon Championship 2020 final between you and Grandmaster Hideaki Ueda. Played in Tokyo, and it was this most amazing YouTube production that we've ever did, and it has more than 100,000 views now in total. It was a very special experience for so many Backgammon fans. We had more than 1,000 viewers concurrent viewers each night for 12 days in a row. So this actually meant a lot for a lot of players, and it still does. But you were the main character. You were sitting there competing so many matches and putting on this amazing performance. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this experience and what went through? How was it to play the final, and how was your opponent and all that stuff? Give us your experience.
It was a very hard tournament for me. So I knew Hideaki Ueda was a very strong player, but I did not know that he was that good, So I was kind of, before I played first day one, I saw that I am going to win, I just overconfident. Then after the day one, I was completely crushed, not only because he's that good, but also I made a lot of stupid mistakes and a lot of bad time management. Then I realized that, oh my God, I'm going to lose, and I started to fear, all right? Like it's the first time because I didn't think about it. And I could imagine that fear is as a reality, So, okay, I calculated my odds, and if assuming me and him same skill, after day one, my winning chance would be like 10%, actually, because he was leading like 4 points, and he was leading in PR by a lot. So I changed, my attitude. I started to study with my partner, which is Kazuki Yokota. We live together. He lives in my house. I have like separate room for him, and he lives in my house. And so whenever I want to play practice match, I could play with him. So I play him every day and study and analyze. So I could have a better chance to catch up. I still didn't know that I could beat him, but what can I do? I just want to do my best, and I just want to do better me. It was really hard, and at the same time, it was very enjoyable. That's why I could be a better player. And I also realized that with that competition, I can be very lazy. So I love that.
You can be lazy, or you cannot be lazy.
Without competition, I'm very lazy.
Without the competition, you are lazy. Okay, now I get it. So the competition makes you not lazy.
Yeah. So I need a competition. I need a strong competition. So that was a great tournament in terms of that, because it forced me to work hard, And I think I, became a better player after UBC. And also, I wasn't a watcher, but if I were a watcher, it's something very special. Like Hideaki was like a new star. He's using a fan all the time, wearing Japanese clothes, traditional clothes, and that was awesome.
It was awesome. It was just amazing. It was the best Backgammon production ever. I think we're gonna have a hard time beating that. And Hideaki took the world by storm, literally. Like, people knew he was good, and because he played I believe it was 2.74 in the contender tournament where he won, which is obviously an amazing performance over 19 matches. But, you could have a good week. There are probably 10, 15 players who could hit a 2.78 or 2.74 over 19 matches if they get a little bit of luck. So I think that he proved that it wasn't luck. In those, when he went and did it again and played even better in the finals. Amazing, and especially the fact that he's only been playing seriously for 4 years. What do you think about that? I didn't consider it to be even possible to play that well after so few years. What do you think about this?
Yeah, he's amazing. But I kind of see the reason why. First of all, he's very smart. He's very bright. So he graduated from the best university in Japan, which is Tokyo University. And for some reason, he quit his job and he take up backgammon I don't know why. But then he came to Backgammon Club every day. Every day he recorded every match, and he asked me a lot of questions. He asked me other experts, and he tried to figure out. He spent a lot of time on backgammon. And so if you do with a very sharp mind, you can improve a lot, thanks to the bot and thanks to the environment we have. Because now you can play anybody in the world using Backgammon Galaxy or the internet server, and you can figure out by using Extreme Gammon, and you can, well, if you live in Japan, live in Tokyo or Osaka, you have great access to a lot of information. So all you need is a sharp mind and some time. And he did it for 2 years, at least 2 years, just backgammon. I mean, from my perspective, I don't know the truth, but it looks like the truth is he came to Backgammon Club every Sunday, and he recorded many, many matches, and he analyzed that. I see. And I don't know, he did the right thing to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's anyway, that was really impressive that he achieved such a level of mastery in such few years, because in my opinion, backgammon is a lot of it's a game of this feedback loop between your actual moves and kind of the pattern recognition side to it. So a lot of times you just need to make a typical blunder or a specific blunder. You need to make it many times before it like integrates into your body, and you're not going to make it in the future. And you probably made the same blunders 10, 20 times in all these different edge cases of the game. But just for the fact that he's only been playing for 4 years, he didn't have the time to make the blunders that many times. So he must be a very, very quick learner to not make the blunders when he's faced with them. So I think that's the most impressive part.
And by the way, and he is still improving.
Okay,
so you said that he played 2.74 last year, UBC Contender Tournament. He is completely different now, in my opinion.
Wow. Yeah.
But we saw it already in the final, right? He was pretty good under that kind of pressure.
Yes. So you have Hideaki. You have a handful of other grandmasters, and even a field of grandmasters below that as well, chasing this lowest possible PR, and we're all improving still. Even you are also improving, like you say, like you felt like you became a better player after this competition. How far can we go, do you think, as humans? It's like now, because that's one of the other, maybe even the greatest achievement ever was when you put you became the Super Grandmaster in the BMAP Federation, Mochi, when you played, was it 300 experience points below 2.5? Is that correct? Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Which at that time, when I heard it, I thought that can't be true. And then it took some time for me to kind of accept that it was actually humanly possible to play below 2.5 over so many matches. But where's the limit? What do you think? Is there a human limit to this, or can we just keep improving until we finally achieve 0.0?
Well, the key is if we could provide an environment that the young player can just focus on improving his game, then it's very achievable to play below 2.25, or I'm not sure, but 2.0 seems like a limit, but he could be very close, or maybe one player can break the barrier and play 2.0. One moment, some noise is going on. Even in BMAP, that comes 300 experience latest points. There's some luck, If you have an easy game in 300 games, and it's a lot of points, of course, but it's doable to break the 2.0 barrier. But we have to provide a right environment for younger players.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So the 2.0, what do you think if I had asked, let's say I had asked Falafel this question in 2007, and back then you didn't have Extreme Gammon, you had Snowy and GNU Backgammon and whatever, but and they're not quite the same in PR. Extreme Gammon seems to make it be a little bit harder referee than Snowy was. But what do you think Falafel's answer to this question would have been in 2006 or 2007?
Falafel believed that no one could beat 2.0. That was very clear to him. I don't know what was the line for him, but he was clear that the 2.0 is not achievable. But I don't think so. And I don't think it's true anymore.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm pretty sure I predict in 2 years somebody gonna be beat a 2.5 like I did. So I'm only a Super Grandmaster right now, but it's just a matter of time that somebody gonna be a Super Grandmaster as well. It's either Weather or somebody else, I don't know, but somebody gonna beat it in 2 years. That's my prediction, just for the record.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be even surprised that somebody break 2.25 in a few years.
Wow. Is that your next goal?
Well, I'm trying, but it's really hard. It's really...
Yeah. Okay, so...
because, I mean, if you play 2.9, for example, you are like dead.
Yeah.
You know, and in the process, in 300 experience point, let's say you play 15-point match and you play 2.9, you are like pretty much dead. So start again.
Yeah, oof, it's tough. So for the contender tournament this year in the UBC, we're hosting it in Marbella. And you're going to attend. You're going to be there, Mochi. Even though you're the champion, obviously you're not going to play because you're the champion. We have to find the contender to take you on in the final. How do you see this event? Are there any special players you want to like predict maybe can do well? Do you see any surprises coming up, or are you just going there with an open mind? And how do you see this contender tournament?
Oh, I'll be there, of course, because this is the most interesting tournament on earth, and I want to see my opponent in my eyes, and I think Hideaki Weather is one of the favorite players, of course, but also my buddy Kazuki Yokota. I think he will come, and he can be a very good candidate. I don't think the world doesn't recognize him yet, but they will recognize very soon. And I don't know the others like Thomas Christiansen, of course. But I'm not really sure how much study he does, or Dirk Schiemann and other good players have some decent chance. But whoever wins, it's gonna be a very interesting tournament, and one must see basically.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
I'm very excited.
Very good. Me too. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And finally, we have our own venue, so we don't have to adjust the schedule around another tournament. We can just take our time, and it's gonna be a 5-day event. It's gonna be very intense. We're basically gonna have like 2 full days of matches for the 2 preliminary days for all the players. Then we cut it down to 12 players, where it's 7-point matches in 1 day. You played 4 a day in the UBC Finals, so imagine playing 7 live matches on day 3 for the remaining 12 players. And then from there, we're going to be find the top 4, the semi-finalists. And that's going to be, of course, now more slow. Everybody who's knocked out, they can relax, go to the pool, have a drink. And the 4 semi-finalists, they have to play 3 7-point matches in each of the semi-finals. So not too intense. And then the final on day 5 is going to be 6 7-point matches. So that's going to be intense again. So whoever makes it all the way to the final, it's a very intense tournament. But you know,
It's much harder than last year. Last year, semi-finalists has to play maybe 2 matches, right?
Yes, correct.
And finalists has to play only 2 or 3. Now it's 3 and 6, right?
Yes, correct, exactly. So it's much. They just probably had some guests in the. Oh yeah, there you are. We just lost Mochi there for 1 second. That's okay. Okay, Mochi, something else. I forgot to ask you before when we talked about it. You won the World Championship in Monte Carlo in 2019. Obviously, this is an open tournament.
2009.
Sorry. What did I say? I said 19. Oh, my bad. 2009. Yeah. And it's a big tournament, and anybody can play. It's a high buy-in tournament. So, of course, it takes some luck to win it, but it is the most historical tournament in backgammon. It's the World Championship in Monte Carlo. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience, becoming a world champion?
Yeah, World Champion back then was the and only biggest tournament that everybody wants to win. And it changed my life entirely. If I hadn't won that tournament, my life would be very different. I probably didn't get married. I didn't have 3 kids. I didn't do what I do now. Of course, because by winning World Championship, that people realized me and people voted me as a number one in the Giants list. So otherwise, I wouldn't be number one. And everything has changed. And I remember the final or semi-final of the World Championship. I still do. The final was against Robot. And actually, a day before the final, he was playing against Roland Herrera from UK. So I was watching the semi-final, and I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping that Roland gonna win, because Trabot was professional. He's much stronger player, so I was hoping that the weaker player is gonna win, so that I have a better chance. But then I was watching, then I was rooting for him, then Trabot is coming back. Then I realized that what I'm doing here, I'm doing something stupid, because if Trabot gonna win, then I am already down, I'm losing from the starting point, because this is not championship to do. Championship play the best opponent and win it. That's supposed to be a world champion, So I changed my mind. Okay, I don't care. I will actually let's play last for both. And semifinal is still going on, but I quit watching because my I understand that my psychological part is pretty bad, because I'm rooting for the weaker players. That's no good. So I quit watching, and I hope that the last robot's gonna win. And then, of course, no doubt, the last came back and won the match, and it was the best final. Lars won the world champion last year, 2008, I think. And then he came to the final again, something like this. And so that was the story before the night. And then a lot of things I had to go through, because being the world champion is a one chance in a lifetime, right? And as a professional backgammon player, being a world champion means a lot. So my emotion goes up and down even before the final, and going up and down in the final as well. But luckily, it goes well to me, and I won it. I still remember the moment, and looking back from now, I understand that how important it was, but I did not know at the moment. That was a story, and I think that was a starting point where backgammon in Japan also grow up a lot, because now we have a Japanese champion. So Akiko told me that. Well, actually not told me, but she said in the interview that she also wanted to be a world champion, because I won it, and a lot of others. Now I set the bar and the highest points. Before I won the world championship, the best Japanese became like last 8 in the world championship or something like that. So if I could do that, many other Japanese could do that. Maybe they saw that way,
And just for the viewers who don't know, Akiko is the best female backgammon player on earth, and she's a double world champion. So she actually won the world championship twice after you, Mochi, which is also an amazing achievement.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Akiko as a person and as a backgammon player?
Yeah, Akiko is... Akiko and I play a lot of Roulette when we are very young. We almost every week, if not more, play $5 Roulette. in Tokyo, and we practice together. And Akiko is a completely different player as me. He's more like her focus is, I think her focus of the game is the best, basically. She may not know in a lot of things as I do, but she could figure out things quickly, and she never afraid of anybody. And in any circumstances, she can find the best play. And she is a very strong player in that respect. And nice person as well.
Yeah, very good. It's amazing. And then she won at the World Championship twice. Do you think we're ever going to see Akiko play and compete in the UBC tournament?
I don't think so. It's not her game. I don't think her mindset is going that way. I don't think so, basically. She doesn't even play DMAP, so how come she plays UBC?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about talking a little bit about this? This, you could say, almost like new times of backgammon, where and you kind of experienced both worlds. Like, it used to be more of a money game, and you played the big tournaments, high buy-in. You played money game, you played duet, and then it's gradually become. I wouldn't say that it's now something else, but at least it's both things. Now it's also become a sport. And we compete on the PR. The UBC format is you get 1 point for winning, 1 point for outplaying the opponent, according to the Extreme Gammon engine. And it seems to be that we have a lot more competition and transparency nowadays, and now people compete to be a better player. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you see this change or this situation?
Obviously people are changing from playing just for money to play for a skill, or they just want to be, they just want to play a better game. They just want to study more because of the Extreme Gammon and because of the Snowy. And I don't have any opinion about this. This is a change that we have to accept, and we have to go on with it. Some people always say that back then it was a great day. We have a lot of gambling. We have a lot of money games. Nowadays we don't have such an environment anymore. But things going on. You have to adapt it. Like back then, it was great to have a lot of action, but it was not also great that we are not really sure who is the best player. We are not really sure what the truth of the game. Nowadays, if you have light access, even if you are born in a country where you're limited, like for example, if you are born in Iran, you can still be a stronger player. I know many Iranian players became very, very good. But back then, if you don't have internet or computer or software, then you have no chance. The only way to be a better player is you have to go to the place that where strong players are playing to run from it, right? So it's always pro and cons. Mm-hmm. And by giving everybody access, by giving everybody a chance to be a stronger players, that change is really positive. And if you play backgammon as a way of making money, like a gambling, then it's limited, because the most effective way to make money in backgammon is finding a weaker player than you do, right? Mm-hmm. So if you play a fish, plays 10 and play $100 a point, you don't need to improve. All you need is just, keep him in cage and, to protect him from other fish, other hustlers. And this is not really what we want. We want game growth, right? As an intellectual game that I love, the backgammon should be open to everyone. And I want to see the level of the game increasing. And it is going online now, I confidently say that the level of the human being is highest at this moment. Okay, 2021, 8th of June, our level as a human being is the highest point, and tomorrow it's going to be higher. That's a great thing, right? And we want to see the limit. Of course, there is a limit, obviously. I don't know where, but we are not get there yet. And that's like a great, great moment we have. Mm-hmm. And the UBC and Backgammon Galaxy have a lot. That have a lot of our mindset, and we have, you set a goal for players. Right now, I'm trying to be the best in ranking of the Backgammon Galaxy, and right now I'm trying to, defend my title in UBC. And a lot of other strong players to do the same. And that was really nice for the sake of the game, for the sake of the human, to see the human limit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree, Mochi. Well said.
It's not exciting. It's not exciting that we, Backgammon was there from 4,000 years ago and 5,000 years ago, and we know the best, right? It's great.
It's exciting. I agree.
And we know more. We know more tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's
right. Next year.
Another little good segue that you did there was, or that you served for me to do, is that you recently posted a challenge, like a Backgammon Galaxy online challenge, because you kind of wanted to climb the ranks and see if you could maybe even get all the way up to the first place. It's been Staniak Siska, who's been the king of the hill on Backgammon Galaxy for 2 years, basically since Backgammon Galaxy launched. He's sitting now, I think, with 3,200 in Galaxy rating, a crazy amount. And you posted this public challenge. Anyone in the top 20 could challenge you. And we've had two matches so far against Chris Trencher and Burak. I'm not going to try to pronounce his Turkish last name. Burak, a very, very strong player from Turkey. And you have a lot of matches lined up. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this challenge, Mochi?
Yes, I'm going to play third match tomorrow, by the way. It's going to be Frank Frigo. He is ex-world champion. He's a very good player, nice guy. But anyway, why I started that challenge was that, as I said, I need competition. That's the only way that motivates me to study more and force me to practice. So after I defended my title against the Hideaki Ueda. It was in January, right? And it was so stressful, to be honest. I didn't do much in February and March and April. Then it's not good. Like what I'm doing, I'm just like relaxing and do nothing about my game. So I wanted to, I want to set up some competition, right? And so I started to play Backgammon Galaxy and try to step up the ladder. And then why don't I, set up the challenge so that it's gonna be enjoyable for the watchers and it's easier for me, because if I just wait and right opponent, it takes some time. Also, there's some controversial argument about how you become the top of the ranking. So I wanted to be in the top in the right way. So I set up the challenge. And it's open to everyone. So there are seven strong players did accept the challenge, and I'm gonna go for it. But by the way, if I'm waiting for the game in Backgammon Galaxy, I would accept anyone within 250 points of my rating. So for example, if I am 2,900, I would play as low as 265. Okay, so I'm not really picking up or I'm trying to find a rating fish or anything. I just want to do a proper way. But anyway, the whole purpose was giving me a challenge. Nobody gave me a challenge, so I set up the challenge by myself.
Very, very cool. And the first two YouTube streams were quite good, and I'm looking forward to following the rest of the challenges. Is very cool. And this idea of building, of growing the game, reaching new players, new countries, all that stuff. That's also the main goal of Backgammon Galaxy. We currently have 70,000 registered accounts. There are some duplicates, of course. We have like 25,000 to 30,000 unique monthly users. And our goal is to reach, the next goal is 1 million users. And then after that, I don't know, couple of millions or something. So yeah, I share that goal, and we share the goal on Backgammon Galaxy, and we're gonna do what we can to spread the competition backgammon and help people, like you said with your shogi career, that you didn't even know how to study. You didn't even know how do I even become good. You're just playing. And I think this is one of the things that we can help with the Backgammon Galaxy, is that we can kind of show new players the way to improve. What is equity? How do you analyze your blunders with the YouTube content, with the analysis mode on the side, and all that stuff. So we share that vision as well.
Right, you have done a lot of good things.
Thanks. Okay. Mochi.
Also, by the way, I gotta mention that one of the challenges I have is 19 years old. His name is Ryan. He lives in Canada. I have, I did not know anything about him, but he happens to be one of the top 30 players. So incredible. I'm very happy to, find those kind of players. I always try to support youth players to grow. Uh-huh. And we never know. There are lots of talents in this world. Is big.
The world is big, and we've seen it many times now that over the last couple of years, we have young teenagers basically playing almost world-class level, and it is exciting to see what the new generation of backgammon can achieve. And there is a new generation. I still feel like we're young, Mochi. We're not done yet. We're still improving as well, but there is a new generation coming, and yeah. So that's going to be really, really fun to see.
So I want to say that apart from my professional career, like playing backgammon, I'm going to devote my life and time to build a path for younger generation and promote the game to the public. That is what I'm going to do. I don't care about money. I mean, of course, I want to make in the process. I want to make money in the process. But if we could together find a way to build, for example, like a professional league or like a huge youth championship, that would be great. That would be great for the backgammon, and we are so underachieved in backgammon community as a whole. Well, part of the reason was that the most professional players in the past, they don't care about that. They just care about making money. They just care about their fish, their monthly income. I'm very fortunate to have like a stable income now since I have, I became a popular player. But I just want to devote my time and life to do that I declare here.
Beautiful. So if any of you young guys listening to this, just start studying the game. We're going to do our best to promote it. I have another thing here in my notebook, Mochi, that we didn't really talk too much about. I think maybe we should finish this podcast by getting into this topic. And this is, we talked a lot about your career. We heard you speak your mind, share your ideas, all that stuff. And it's been amazing. But I also want to pick your brain a little bit about some technical aspects of the game. So for instance, I want to make this as an open-ended question as possible. But could you tell us a little bit about the nature of backgammon and the nature of backgammon strategy? If you could just like completely open-ended, just speak your mind. How do you see the game, like from a game point of view, technical point of view?
Wow, that's really open-ended question. I don't know what to do. I mean, the very nature of the game. I mean, we roll the dice, so the pip count, if there's no hit, if there's no contact, no hit or at all, then it's just a race game. So very basic strategy. It should be when you are down in the race, you gotta wait. You gotta keep your point and ambush to get a hit. And if you're up in the race, you try to lose the counter. That's the nature of the game. Of course, there are many other strategies. What else can I say? Sorry, but you gotta be a little bit more specific about the question.
Okay, so I'm just trying to follow along on what you're saying here. So you defined the most fundamental part, which is the race and that it's a dice game essentially. But then you have the rules that says that if you can hit a checker, then he has to start all over, and if he doesn't come in from the bar, you miss your entire turn, and you can block your opponent behind a structure of points and so on. So a lot of strategy all of a sudden evolves just from these simple rules. So what then? The game is more complicated than just a race. What else can we say?
I would say it's a timing. Also giving yourself like diversifying your number. For example, timing means that if you don't have a timing, that you will your position will self-collapse, right? And if you have a good timing, you have many good numbers. You don't. Your numbers will make a new point. You can. All right. So it's a little bit open-ended as well. I think, but it's a timing is a good thing to start with. Plus, yeah. For example, so if I have to teach backgammon to the new players, I always teach how to make a point and how to make an advanced anchor and stuff like that. But the next thing that I'm going to tell him is that essentially this is a race game. So if you are down in the race, you have to stay back and get a shot. If you're up in the race, you have to go. That's the nature of the game. That's why we want to make a point. That's why we want to make a climb. If there's no contact and no hit, then making a point or climb does any need. And the understanding the timing also helps of how many. It's basically giving yourself good numbers. That is very important because you have 36 combinations. And if you limit yourself to a fewer numbers, then you might face some trouble. By the way, about the nature of the game, I just came up with the other thing that backgammon is very similar to roulette. Okay, so roulette, you are going to. So if you are like a normal player, you can bet 18 numbers out of 36. Yeah, in a roulette board, you have like 36 numbers, right? You can bet 18 numbers, right? But if you are a better player, you can bet 24 numbers by playing better, move. So now you have a better chance to hit the jackpot, okay? But if you are a worse player, you might bet only like 16 numbers, but you can still win by hitting 16 numbers every time. So every move is like betting on the roulette, and every game is every matches consist of like certain moves. Like you play 30 moves per game, and you're betting every time. And stronger players not always win, basically, because you are betting bigger numbers, more numbers, but sometimes a fish would hit the jackpot every time, so you could lose. But if you play 100 games or many games, then you have much better odds to win the game. That's how I view the game. So so you can lose and win. It's a beauty of the game, but in the long run, you are playing roulette.
I love that metaphor. It also tells you that backgammon is something different from most games because it has this probabilistic element to it, where the result doesn't necessarily depend on your skill. It does, but it also depends on the luck. And you're not just going to win every time just because you're the best in the world. Whereas in chess, you have the checkmate. In jiu-jitsu, you have the submission. In boxing, you have the knockout. In football, you have whoever scores more goals. But in backgammon, I love your analogy. You're just making bets on the roulette all the time. So how do you cope with this nature of the game? Because I assume that you came to peace with the fact that even though you're the best player, you're not always going to win.
Yeah. Well, thanks to the bot, we can see the analysis. So we can see the results, why I lost and why I win. So I'm not very upset with just a pure result. We can always look back and why I made the mistakes, and I can learn from it.
Yeah. Okay. So you
but
find
I'm quite pleased with my pure result.
okay. Yeah, you find comfort in the PR. That's actually basically what you care about the most, and then the results just follow from that.
Yeah. But also, I'm very disappointed when I made a mistake in terms of PR, in terms of the light play. Then I would be very upset and I'm disappointed by myself, and I'm very sad.
Okay.
But if I lose because of the luck, what can you do? It's all right. Yeah. And UBC, it doesn't. It's okay as long as you play good.
Uh-huh.
By the way, UBC format also has a lot of luck. We. For example, I don't even know that I or whether which was a better player. But in any given day, one of us gonna win and one of us gonna lose. That's it. If we play 10 UBC championship between me and Ueda, 5 times I win, 5 times he wins. That's how I view the matches.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's gonna be like 10-0 every time, as we saw. So there are some luck involved in UBC as well. But it's okay. It's much less the luck.
Much less. I mean, obviously, when it's so close as it was with you and Hideaki,
right.
It is, and there's a probability distribution for your error rate as well. It's sometimes you have tough games, sometimes you have easy games, and there's an average and a median somewhere in that distribution. But if let's say you're a regular grandmaster and you play at a world-class level, but let's say you play like a 3.5 PR average, which is also, I mean, you're top 1% of top 1% of top 1% in the world population in backgammon. But in the UBC format, you need a lot of luck. I mean, I would say it's not impossible, but wow, it's difficult to win if your average is 3.5. So at least you could say that yes, there is luck when you get to the final, and we have the 2 best players or 2 of the best players. But getting there, you cannot get there without being extremely skilled. And sometimes maybe it's number 8 in the world, or sometimes number 6 in the world. But like I think it's when you look at who's been in the final and who's did well in the contender tournament, you have to be really, really strong to get there.
Of course, I'm not sure if I could win a contender tournament.
You would probably be the favorite, but yeah, it would require some luck. I forget to ask you as well, Mochi, the first UBC final against Sandro Lylov.
Yeah.
The betting lines were actually quite close. You were a favorite, but not a huge favorite. And I think, a lot of people have a huge amount of respect for Sandro. They know how good he was back when he was active, and they know that he's a really smart guy. And we were trying to hype the match from both sides and all. He played super good the first day, and then he had a really off day the second. And you ended up basically beating him very forcefully in day 3 with only 10 matches in. But after day 1, you were actually trailing. Maybe tell us a little bit about that final. We didn't get to talk about it earlier.
Yeah. Well, I respect Sandro a lot. He's genius, kind of, again. We have so many genius players, and he's very smart as well. But I did my best in that UBC, first UBC final. And if Sandro has, put every effort into backgammon from the beginning, it's the same discussion. If we had a career path to be a professional player, Sandro could have been a professional player. That's it. He will not have as a business, which he does nowadays. He is not 100% backend player. It's like a side game for him. It's it's a big hobby, but it's still a hobby. So I won a match, but he has a much bigger talent than I have in backgammon. So if he was, if he focused only on backgammon, he could easily beat me from 10 years ago. But it's the same discussion, like just because we don't have a career path to be a backgammon player, a professional, and a stable income, so that many strong and talented players switch it to other games such as poker or sports betting or trading option and stuff like that. So we lost a lot of talents to other games. That's how I view the result, me against Sander.
Okay, good. Okay, at the end here, Mochi, I just want to share two moments that I had with you where not actively, but I really I had moments where something clicked in my game by listening to something that you said. And the first one was, this is many years ago. There was something called Backgammon TV. I think it was a Japanese thing, if you remember. And you did some videos on it. And there was one video where you talked about the prime formation versus the blitz formation.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a simple video, but there was just something in my game there that just clicked, and it kind of evolved my own thinking of trying to follow that through and stuff like that. And it's like that video made a huge impact on my game. I think maybe I went from playing like a 4.5 to a 4.0.
I can do that seminar in our master class as well. I really like that seminar as well.
Okay. Awesome. That's a good one, guys. So any of you watching, you got to come to Marbella. And the other good learning experience I had with you was from your back game seminar on Gibraltar, where you talked about kind of like the timing sweet spots in the different back games. Like some of the deep back games, you have to be 100 pips down, and then the more shallow back games, maybe not 100 pips. Maybe just 70 pips or something like this. Again, a rather simple idea. I think this is maybe 5 years ago or something. But it kind of, gave me this new ideas, new ways of thinking about timing. And it's also funny that you mentioned timing as one of the fundamental features of the game. And
that was a simple idea. Back then people say the backgammon is experience, but I wanted to, bring some reference or bring some science to it, rather than just be saying, just practice and experience. So I set out the position where the defender of the backgammon has 4 checkers back. 1-2 back game and 2 on the 1 point or 2 on this point. You need to be at least 90 pips down to take the cube. And 1-3 back game, you need 60 pips down to take the cube. And the 2-3 back game, you need 50 pips down to take the cube. So that kind of different position. Of course, you want to be down more. And there are many more variations that you have 5 checkers back or 6 checkers back. It's much worse for backend players. But at least I could see, I could have some reference position so that I have a starting point to think about it. And it's easy for everyone to use it.
Yeah. What do you think is the most difficult position type to play in backgammon? Is it a back game? Is it a prime versus prime? Is it blitz positions? What do you think? Do you have an opinion on this?
Well, back game, we never know. Actually, we never know what the right play because we don't blindly trust extreme game analysis. But priming game is also difficult, but at least you can trust extreme game. So, but on the other hand, each move on back game is lesser impact. So the mistake you make may not be so important. I don't know. I mean, the backgammon is very interesting. I would say backgammon is most difficult game, and priming game is the second difficult.
Okay, just for the viewers here, I'm just trying to show them here. So, for instance, here we see a backgame position. That's when you have two anchors in your opponent's inner board. And a priming game would be, or a priming battle, or prime versus prime, whatever we want to call it, is something like this, where both players are trying to prime each other's back checkers here. And another thing you just mentioned, Mochi, maybe I'm trying to explain this to the viewers as well, that you said that the backgame plays, they're not as critical. Like you're not going to make as big mistakes, but in the priming games, they are usually very big blunders if you make a mistake. And I think the reason here is because of the volatility level, that in the back game you have such a long game ahead of you, and the positions are not going to change all that much from move to move. Whereas in the priming battle, it's very tactical. Like one blunder is usually like catastrophic, and because it could make you crunch your prime first. Would you agree with this assessment?
Yeah, I mean, you remember the position in UBC, me against Hideaki. There's a one cube action. It was a one game match, by the way. And I was like 2 on the bar and 3 other blocks, and I had a 5 prime, and Hideaki had to, jump out with 1 and 6 or something like that. And it was 4 cube. I took it after like 2 or 3 minutes of thinking. And that kind of cube action could happen in a priming game, and it could be like either like, okay, it was happened to be like cross take or pass, but it could be like huge pass or huge take or even huge double. And the priming game could happen something like this. But back game, cube action or checker play, it's a long game. Usually back game takes like 100 moves or so. So each move, the importance is much, much lower. While priming game, 1 or 2 moves is very critical, or 1 or move, 2 cube action is very critical, and the rest of the game it's just a follow-up. If you make a right decision, you will be okay. If you make a wrong decision, you will suffer to the end.
Yeah. I just thought of something, Mochi. I thought I'd ask you the last question, but you're just going to get one more. This is about the Mochi quiz. And obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I believe I'm still the record holder of the best Mochi quiz ever. Am I right? I think I got 44. Has that been beaten?
Yeah. You mean backgammon proficiency?
Yeah, the Mochi proficiency test, I think. Backgammon proficiency test by Mochi.
Yeah.
Or something like this.
Well, Michi also makes a position, and Kazuki also makes a position, so I don't want to take all the credit.
Okay. Yeah, so credit to Michi and Kazuki as well.
Yeah.
Am I still the record holder? Has it been broken? 44?
Oh, sorry, I don't remember. Okay, but 44 is quite.
It's a test with 50
high
problems. I guess I got lucky there. Are we going to see more of these proficiency tests in some of the upcoming events?
I think we are going to publish one of them as a book, so you can buy it and you can take it. Since because of the coronavirus, we couldn't really hold a real test in the live backgammon tournament for last year and probably not this year. So we decided to publish a book, so you can buy it.
That's amazing. That's great news and a great announcement here on the podcast. What about the Marbella event? Is it possible to have a test ready for the Marbella event?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not the guy who's working on it. There's a company who is working on it. I'm gonna ask. Okay. I will let you know, of course. I'll let everybody know.
Okay, cool. Mochi, we got to wrap this up. I've already taken up too much of your time. Thank you so much for coming on here. I hope that the viewers enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you for listening to my nonsense so long, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope everyone enjoys, and I'm very happy to be here, and see you in Marbella.
Good, very good.
Well, I tried to go Monte Carlo, Marbella, and Trier in Germany, so wherever it is, let's meet up.
That's good. Yeah, looking forward to it, Mochi. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for coming on. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, have a nice day.
Okay, guys, that was the conversation with the only Super Grandmaster in the world, Mochi. So I hope you enjoyed it. Some final words here again. Oops, my bad. Here we go. Follow my Instagram. It's Marc Olsen 10. Follow Backgammon Galaxy's Instagram. That's just Backgammon Galaxy. And follow Mochi's Instagram. It's mochizuki.masayuki. And follow Mochi's YouTube site. Follow Backgammon Galaxy's YouTube site. Click the subscription button below. And what else? Oh yeah, of course the Earth board. You all know about the Earth board. And there's a new Backgammon board coming from Backgammon Galaxy. It's going to be $199, so it's not quite as fancy as the Earth board, but it's still a really, really good board. It's going to be 40 millimeter checkers, I believe, the famous Galaxy colors. So look out, be on the lookout for that. I hope we can launch it next week. And then we got, of course, the Marbella tournament here. See if you can make it, and if you can't make it, maybe check out the online tickets that we're going to sell for the masterclass that Mochi and I are going to host. So again, thank you guys for watching. That's it for now. See you next time. Take care. Bye.